This is the Real Life Fake Wizard channel. I am the Real Life Fake Wizard. This past weekend, lots of video game players got home on Friday night to discover they were unable to log in to the PlayStation Network. We go now to one of those gamers. I get home from work and I just want to play games, and this one doesn't work, and this one doesn't work. I just want to play Fortnite. Samantha, who's vetting these guests? Welcome to The Pondering. I am the Real Life Fake Wizard. If this video brings you any value at all or you have a little fun, consider subscribing to the channel where we're posting new videos nearly every day. Imagine spending all day at work on Friday just to get home and you want to log in on Marvel Rivals or Call of Duty, or maybe you still play DC Universe Online. Huzzah, hero! And you can't. And you were unable to because the PlayStation Network was down. Now, this has happened before. The PlayStation servers are not known for being the most secure or powerful. We lost a day and a half this past weekend, but there was another outing back in September of 2024. I mean, this is a company that wants all of its users to hand over their personal information and sign off on terms of service that allows them to track you and your interests, but they don't have a reputation for security or reliability. In 2011, there was a massive security breach, which resulted in 77 million user account credit cards getting leaked, including home addresses, emails, your favorite colors, and a lot more, all leaked online. That was a joke about the favorite color thing. And so you look at the unreliability, and then you look at some of the slimier things that Sony has been doing. You may not own a PlayStation, nor have the desire to ever own one, but for a time, and even to this day, Sony wants you to sign up for a Sony account to play Sony-invested games, regardless of the console you're playing on. We saw this with Helldivers 2 especially. Many countries around the world were shut out from buying the game once Sony enforced its PSN login rule. These countries were shut out not because they did anything wrong, but for many of them, because PlayStations are not even sold there. Yeah. You can't get a PlayStation in Libya. Who knew? Now, there are lots of reasons for Sony to desire for PC gamers to opt in for PlayStation accounts. Firstly, data, like all of your private information, but also to report to their shareholders. It would be a massive success for Sony to report to their shareholders that they've registered another few million or so player accounts worldwide without ever selling a console there. Layer on the fact PC gaming is a major segment in the gaming market share. And I mean, think about it this way. If you look at Xbox, they are doing everything they can to bust into that PC gaming market share. They have Game Pass and Windows and cross-play. Sony needs to do something. There's money to be made on PC. We must get a piece of that pie. But thankfully, the free market, that means you, staved off that attempt at Sony making gaming even more predatory by rejecting Helldivers 2 when they enforced that worldwide login rule. To my knowledge, there are still many countries that do not have access to Helldivers 2, but the wheels are turning at Sony since they're not enforcing PSN login for some of the newer PC releases. It didn't make a difference for Spider-Man 2. That game bombed on PC. Take that, Spider-Man. And that takes us back to the always online discussion. Now, you look at something like Call of Duty or Fortnite or Marvel Rivals even, like, yes, those are always online games. That's the entire point of those games. But we have games now that are built to be live service and ever-changing, sometimes launching in half-assed completed states. Sometimes these games are never finished, and sometimes those games can be entirely taken away. We look at this Multiversus Warner Brothers game, for instance. This is a Smash Brothers clone with Warner Brothers characters. The game is shutting down its online access and being delisted, but will remain available for those who've bought the game to play it offline. Delisted is the bigger phrase here. Delisted means no one can buy it anymore. Now, Multiversus has a lot of drama attached to it, where there was supposed to be a ton of new characters, and many of them were already done being created, but the leadership was greedy AF and ended up sabotaging the company. Delisted essentially means that it will become lost media. We look at Dungeons & Dragons Dark Alliance. This game wasn't very good, but it's also being delisted. Again, delisted means lost media now. Marvel's Avengers, that's also delisted now. And then look at Concord, but that was like Fortnite and Call of Duty always being online. Not only was it delisted, it was entirely taken down and refunds were made. That's also kind of lost media in a way. Like, think about it. If Concord was available now, like, you'd play it. Maybe not for $40, but damn, I want to try it. Okay, well, I can hear you saying now, Wizard, those games were trash. No one's gonna miss them. And I agree, those games were trash, but it's all part of the same puzzle. In the PlayStation Network outage this past weekend, we saw a user on Twitter post that their disk drive could not be paired to their PlayStation 5 console. Yes, attaching a disk drive to your console requires you to sync it online to use. So with the PlayStation Network down, your console really does return to its original state of a rock. Useless. And sure, it's like, well, how often is PlayStation offline? Are we going into a nuclear apocalypse where the internet doesn't exist? Maybe. But sure, if we're living in a Fallout world, you're definitely not going to have time to log into DC Universe Online. Huzzah, hero! No, nothing crazy like that, but come on. As time passes, do you really think that Sony is going to continue to guarantee service to the PlayStation 3, 4, or 5? Nintendo wouldn't even keep the 3DS servers online, and the 3DS is one of the best-selling consoles ever. It's in the customer's best interest to be able to use their purchased items where they see fit. And if that means installing my disk drive while the PlayStation Network is offline, then I should be able to do so. And if we zoom out again, there's also the discussion of preservation of purchase and preservation of media. Now that's very important to me. It may not be so to you. That's fine. These are reasons I want to make sure to shop for physical editions of games when I can. I may want to revisit games later when they're old, like a decade or so, and sometimes you just can't, whether it be for licensing or login passwords or things out of our control. Games go offline, they disappear. Sometimes that's just part of the experience. Sometimes those online games go offline forever, but I don't know, something like Multiversus here shouldn't be online service bound. Something like a PlayStation disc drive shouldn't be online service bound. And something like playing Spider-Man 2 on PC definitely shouldn't require me to create a PlayStation login if I don't own a PlayStation. This conversation feels reminiscent of that classic Ubisoft quote about gamers needing to get comfortable with not owning their games, but it's like, no. I want to own the copies of my games that I purchase. Retail price is $70 for new games. I want to keep that permanently. But hey, I don't think anybody's taking Ubisoft's statements seriously anymore anyway. And I also want my games to ship in a completed state and not have to worry about getting patched to death for 6 months after launch. And I want you to be aware that always online and variations of it will continue to be an issue, to be discussed, and no clear victory to be had for as long as corporations need to find new and alternative ways to make money. And I also want you, my friends, to join me in DC Universe Online. Huzzah, hero! Sorry, I don't actually play DC Universe Online. But I have been playing Marvel Rivals poorly, so if you want to play games with me or find others to play games with, join my Discord server at fakewizard.com. Until next time, create, innovate, inspire, and for the love of God, cancel Disney Plus! This is fun. I like this.